Ready? We finally there? All right, we got it. We're back in action. Ran out of storage there for a second, Samboners. But let's go. Let's get fired up early. Let's get fired up often. Break out your rally towels, boys. Wake out your rally towels and welcome back. Welcome back to the Samboner Show. This is your weekend shakedown. I'm Samboner Mick. Alongside me, Mr. Mike Gill and Mr. Colin Thompson. What's going on, boys?
We doing good, man. What's going on, brother?
I don't see your rally tails, though. What's going on over there?
Oh,
Come on, baby. It's wild card week.
I'm ready to rock, man. Mike's got the whole Philly landscape behind him. I guess I'm the one with the blank wall here. I'm ready to rock, man. Phillies playoffs.
Now,
man,
I gotta pop right off with this. So it's Atlantic City Restaurant Week, okay?
No.
So we set a reservation long time ago because you got to get them in. The best reservation we could get was Wednesday night, 8:30.
It's a violation.
What do I do? I'm out. I can't do anything about it.
Mike,
what? You can't do anything about what?
What pays your bills? Dinners?
What's going on here, Mike?
Are they going to be a sponsor of the Samboner Show?
Mike, we're talking 8:08 p.m. first pitch Tuesday and Wednesday.
I know. Tuesday I got no problems. Wednesday, I said last night, the times came out. As soon as the times came out, I looked at them and said, all right, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. What I said, what time is that restaurant?
I met your significant other. She's going to change that for you. Don't worry.
Hold on, Mike. My question is this, though. You get the reservation, give them a buzz. Hey, can we sit at the bar, change our reservation to the bar, open a table up? Thoughts? I mean, there's TV right there. What's the difference?
Look, the first thing I did was I looked up the place to see what the layout is, to see if it's like a television landscape in there. It looks like it's one of these like fancy schmancy steakhouses where it's really dimly lit and it's like white.
There's got to be one TV at the bar.
One TV. That's it. One TV at the bar, it looks like.
Perfect.
So I got to try to finagle to get towards that table where I can see. I mean, I do have my phone. I can watch. I have YouTube TV, so I can have, but
no.
You need it at the bar. There'll probably be some good.
Put it this way: we could only get an 8:30 at night reservation. That's how hard it is to get a reservation.
What I would do is this: I'd go at 7:30. Try to get a seat at the bar because some people are going to leave to go watch the Phillies game somewhere else, right? They're going to go for an earlier dinner, bounce for that, pop in you two at the bar, and then say, "Hey, we're going to give up our reservation. We're sitting at the bar," and then you watch at the bar. That's a vet move. Listen, not everyone has those credentials and that type of swagger.
Let's just hope our ratings didn't just completely tank too, but that's neither here nor there.
What, 'cause we're off the rails?
I know.
Oh, because it's a violation to be going out to dinner when
yeah, Mike. Everyone just turned down the knobs, brother.
The viewers can relate to this. How many guys are watching this right now are like, dude, I have to go through the same thing all the time. We talked about it last week with the Sunday wedding.
I'm going to say 0.
BS.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say 0, baby. What was the stat that came out the other day? This is the 16th time. You know what? And Colin, to your point pre-show about the Jets fan, and we'll get into that in a second. I don't care how horrific your organization is. The Phillies have only been in the playoffs 16 times. So you take these moments for granted when they come to you.
Two things, Samboner Mick. One, the Phillies were in the playoffs last year. They played at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So the fact that they have the prime time slot, the fact that they are the most marketable team in these wild card tells you something about these playoffs right now. You got Tampa, Toronto, Texas. No one gives a shit about any of those teams. So you got the Phillies getting prime time. You can't account for that. Last year they were in the playoffs, yes, but they played at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I figured I'd be in the clear. You're making these reservations 3 weeks in advance. You got no idea.
They're going to be in the playoffs at that point.
I'll tell you what, though. I
knew they were going to be in the playoffs. But again, like I said, last year they played at 2 in the afternoon. I didn't figure that they were going to give them Now, 3 weeks ago, the Yankees were still kind of involved. And, if they're in, they're getting the prime time slot no matter who they're playing. The fact that the Phillies and the Marlins are the best matchup they got and they put it in prime time, that's terrible.
Well, it's the Phillies for starters, and
they played the Cardinals at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The Cardinals are the biggest organization in baseball, and they said you two crap burgers are going to play at 2.
Well, I remember going off last year vividly about how the MLB just screwed up the whole schedule. Like, this is baseball. It's a family sport.
They had the Yankees.
I get all that, but but there's games going on while like kids are in school and people are at work. Like,
well, yeah, hold on a second though. Then there's the people that complain, the old farts that say, "When I was in school, we used to watch it when we were in the classroom. They'd roll the TV in there."
but the problem is Becky and Johnny's parents that come to back to school night will be livid that they did anything but school for 8 straight hours. So they can't.
I'll tell you what, though, Mike, to your dismay, I will say that's where technology and electronics come into play and are much more valuable this day and age. When, back in the day when you were going to your little youth football banquets and you had like Uncle Mick come over with the little mini Panasonic stand that had to get plugged into the wall. Like, you remember those days?
Uncle Mick.
Now it's just too easy, man.
Well, I remember watching March Madness when I was we had a teacher that went to Penn State at Cold Spring Elementary School, Doylestown, Pennsylvania. I was in 6th grade and the guy went to Penn State and Penn State was playing and the guy was staring at the TV all day long. So I was the best day of my life in class for sure. But I digress.
The teacher used to roll the television in. They rolled it in and they brought it in for like a big event or something.
That's why this generation's soft.
Come on. God. Yeah. The best ever though. So you see, I have a little earpiece in here so I can hear you guys. So years ago, I was dating this girl. I was at her college graduation.
Tell us more.
It was on a Sunday. I vividly remember it because it was a Sunday. The Eagles are playing the Cowboys. I have to go to the graduation. I'm sitting there, me, her, and her parents. Well, I had a little earbud in, and it was plugged in because there was no Wi-Fi. Bluetooth.
That's why you're not with her anymore.
No, but plugged it in, listening to the game, and everybody's getting announced, and all of a sudden, I hear Merrill Reese say, "And T.O. is down. He's not getting up." I said, "Oh, my God!" In the middle of the freaking graduation. And the mother turned around. He's listening to the Eagles game, like real snarky, and I'm like, T.O. just got hurt. T.O. just got hurt.
Hee-ha! Gill.
I love it, man.
This is like before, now you might have like Bluetooth on so nobody can see the wire. They don't know what you're doing. You have a little handheld like phone video. The technology is changing. So I will get through it, Samboner Mick, but it's going to be, I got to.
No, we've all been in those situations. Honestly, you never know, how your schedule it butts up against some of these games that aren't announced until just last night, right? I remember one year in 2001, the Sixers were playing the Lakers, and we had plans to drive to Boston to see the Phillies play the Red Sox at Fenway. We got completely lost to the point where the Sixers game had started. We had plans to get to Boston for the tip-off. 2 hours go by. We're still circling Massachusetts, trying to find our way into Boston. We had to pull over and listen to the Sixers game because we were losing reception. And when we lost reception, then we would pick it back up. As soon as we picked it back up, we pulled over to catch the last hour of the game on the radio because we were clueless back then. We were 21 years old. We didn't know how to get from A to B. There was no maps. There was no Waze. There was no Google Maps. But You know what? We prevailed. That's either here nor there. We're always off the rails.
How many times do you think about that when you're driving to a place that you have no idea how to get to, that you just take for granted, that you put it in, that 10, 15 years ago, you'd be like, how the hell would I have gotten to this place?
No, I always remember that.
My father-in-law still has an Atlas in his car.
Oh, yeah. Dude, my dad is the king of the Atlas. You kidding me?
Awesome.
We'll be talking about he took all the girls, my wife and her daughter on a trip to Vegas for a big softball tournament back in the day from Houston, right? And they drove. So when we talk about it, Mick, now he has the same Atlas in the living room, mirrored. So what he can do is we'll start talking about the trip. He opens the Atlas up and he talks about the route they took, the roads. Dude, I'm like, what?
Dude, this is so funny. Shout out to my dad real quick. We just celebrated his 70th birthday over the weekend.
Oh, nice.
At the General in Southampton. The owner is Paul's, the old GD. That's his local watering hole. We have about 100 people over there. And, he would travel all over the East Coast to watch my brother play football at Catholic University. And in the back of his black safari van, he must have had, Mike, 10 or 15 of those big, huge Atlas maps to the point
awesome.
Where we started calling him tour guide. He was the tour guide. TG, baby. So shout out to TG. Happy 70th. There's nothing better than the good old days.
Happy 70.
Happy 70. How many people, though, is the top thing you Google when you're at some place you don't know where you are? Food near me. So you can find like what the restaurants are when you're out of like your area.
It's called the Samboner app.
That's the problem. And the problem is,
about last week, you've been slacking on that. We need to get it up.
The issue with that is, though, once you get there, like take it from my instance, because I'll pop up in Minnesota, right? I pop up in Carolina, and I Google best place for a sandwich, best place for pizza, whatever, trying to get a bite to eat. And the ones that have the most Yelp reviews or whatever, they pop up. So I go there, and then I live there for, say, a couple months at this point. And I'm like, damn, I walked past 4 or 5 of the best restaurants and bars and eateries in town because I was looking on my phone trying to find a spot, right? Instead of just walking in and just giving it a shot. So yeah, Samboner app.
Well, that's different when you are living there as opposed to like we were in, wherever, Deptford.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're at a store in Deptford and you're like, okay, I don't know what's near me. Food near me. And then you're starting to look around. Oh, this place looks kind of cool. Yada, yada.
You know what the move is?
That Samboner app would be very helpful.
It would. But the move is this. You go to Instagram and you type in the town and food. And then you just look at all the foodies that took all the pictures of all the.
It's saturated for sure.
And you just look and you're like, that looks good. Boom, we're going there. And then you find
you
a
gotta
good
do your homework. There's a lot of sites out there that do it. But that said, let's just take a pause and say, a big thanks to the production team here, Jack in the back, Colin, the boys. Everything we do here is brought to you by Not For Long Media. Shout out to our sponsors, the original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge all over the country. Big fans of the page, big fans of the Samboner Show. Can't thank you enough for all the love and support. Shout out to Verona Pizza. You're bringing up pizza, Colin. I got a new joint, baby, right up the street here in Maple Glen, Pennsylvania, Montgomery County. The cheesesteak game is at probably its highest peak right now. And I'm just so happy to be fortunate enough to have a top 10 spot 5 minutes up the road. Verona Pizza, Mo and Vince holding it down strong. And then last but not least, shout out to our good friends down in Seattle City. Proud affiliate, Mike, Hank's Sauce. A lot of people out there buying their hot sauce right around the football time, brewing up some homemade wings. Order some Hank's Sauce. Go on the website. Use the promo code SAMBONE. There's so many different varieties. I'm sitting here with like a case of it right here.
Baby. Get the camouflage.
The camouflage. I think I have that in my hand right now. But it's a beautiful time to be a Samboner. I feel like I just kind of watched the Black Cat run by us again for the week. Your beloved Eagles are still undefeated. Your Philadelphia Phillies are in the playoffs. Your Penn State Nittany Lions are undefeated, number 5, 6 in the country. People are Samboning all over the goddamn country. And what else can I say, baby? It's wild card week, and it's
international
just a beautiful time to be alive.
International Sambones, Mick. You just said the country.
God. Capri, Italy, Florence, Italy. How about this dude Franimal posted up at the Cornhuskers, the Michigan-Nebraska game? That is a beautiful Sambone right there. You got $100,000 right behind you.
Do you know Frank?
I don't know, man. I don't know. These guys are all randos.
Yo, Frank's a legend. He's an Archbishop Wood grad.
Is he?
Oh, you want to talk about it?
Was Frank to receive you at your party?
No, he was not. I wish we would have been out till 3 a.m. and Frank was there. Frank is a legend, Mick. Played goalie for Archbishop Wood. He played goalie at LSU club hockey, and then he went to Arizona State and played goalie for their club hockey team there. So his 2 schools he graduated from are LSU and Arizona State. The guy's a world traveler. You see him Samboning, he's a character.
Is that why they call him the Franimal?
He's an animal. Mick, holy cow. He's a hurricane.
Shout out to Frank, baby. Love your energy. Love your enthusiasm. You got to keep on. If you're listening, Frank, keep on Samboning, baby.
By the way, Samboner Mick, you talked about it. I went out and did a little Samboning Saturday, if you will. Went out to Hamilton. 3 breweries banged out and then hit up a little Bruni's Pizza in Hamilton, baby. The pepperoni roll bread in this Bruni's Pizza. That's why you go to Hamilton, man. That's what you go to Hamilton for. Right across the street from Vinyl Brewing, which was having their 6th anniversary. Awesome little spot right across the street. Bruni's Pizza. We got a pizza and a pepperoni roll. This pepperoni roll. Now, listen, West Virginia, which is where I graduated, is the birthplace of the pepperoni roll. And this pepperoni roll.
Birthplace of the pepperoni roll. Wow.
How about it, baby? Now,
we're going to get Mags on here to talk about the buff chick.
The Bruni's Pizza pepperoni roll. Shout out to Bruni's there. But we hit 3 Threes Brewery. We hit Vinyl Brewery. And we hit Chimney Brewing. And then, Colin Thompson, I got to take you and Samboner Mick to Rocco's Townhouse. little downstairs whiskey bar.
Ooh,
Oh, a little underneath.
show me the way to the next whiskey bar.
Morrison, baby, get it going. But this place was outstanding.
Mike,
We played checkers, we played chess, we played Trivial Pursuit, all downstairs with a little shuffleboard that took up the whole downstairs.
Wow, the ideal date night. Checkers, chess, shuffleboard, and whiskey.
At one point, I thought that like the 20-mile per capita around Phoenixville was like had like the most breweries in the entire country. And now it sounds like Jersey is like God, how many breweries are in Jersey at this point?
Well, this is Hamilton, which is out in Atlantic County by itself. Kind of it's like the last town in Atlantic County. It borders all the other counties. So it's out there. But Cape May County, yes, has all those breweries. Atlantic County has some, but they're more spread out. But Hamilton has 3 within like a 5-mile radius of each other. So, and they're all, I had a great time. I will definitely be doing that little triangle again.
I love
it, man. Kyle, there's actually now there's a brewery. It runs past Steam Pub in Southampton, if you're familiar with Steam. So they built this like bike trail. It's called like the Bucks County Brewery Bike Trail at this point. So
Great
you can just, and my friend Martin Hoger, owner of Steam Pub, was behind it. And basically, it's like every 3, 4, 5 miles on your bike, like through Pennypack and all that. And you can just hit, a multiple. I don't know how many breweries, but that's a cool little experience to do on a weekend.
That is really cool. You know what that triggered me on was, and that's sweet. It's an awesome place to grow up, awesome place to raise kids. It's for all that stuff too. I was talking about a couple people this weekend in Annapolis about people from Bucks County and Montgomery County, and like we just met for the first time, and he's like talking all the similarities and how great the place is. But it was reminding me of when you take the bike over from Cape May to Lewis, Delaware, and then you go to Dogfish Head on your bike.
They have all those bike trails, man. It is
really
awesome.
cool, man. There's bike trails all the way to Dogfish Head Brewery. It's about what, 10-mile bike ride, Mick? I mean, Mike?
Yeah. Well, I was just there. I did Crooked Hammock. We did Thompson's Island. No relation to you there, Colin Thompson.
Yeah, maybe now with this whole like electric bike craze, that's something that I could get myself into.
They have a place that you can rent the bikes now to do the whole tour. But
what with the electric little patch on there?
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I'm not biking that either, Mick. I'm not biking that either. Absolutely. My wife loves to do athletic things and drink at the same time. It's my worst nightmare. So electric bike, tune that puppy up, 0 effort, and then drink. While I'm drinking, I don't want to move. I do enough movement during the week.
My God.
That Delaware, but I'll tell you the big difference between the Delaware and Jersey breweries. No food in Jersey. They got that law that the Jersey breweries can't serve food. And that like Vinyl in Hamilton is in the best spot because right across the street is Bruni's Pizza and there's a taco shop literally connected to it. Chimney has a place next door. They said they kind of back, but 3 Threes is off the beaten path a little bit, and there's not like a food area there, and that kind of hurts you a little bit. But all of them had great beer. But Delaware serves food in the breweries, and they don't let you do it in Jersey.
Yeah, there's a whole legal thing with that. That's a whole other discussion for another day.
All right, boys, let's dive into. I want to get our take on not only the Phillies but the Eagles too. But let's dive into the Phils wild card series against the Miami Marlins when everybody thought it was going to be the Diamondbacks. 2 different ball clubs. So we're going to be facing a ball club that's more dominant in the pitching category. I believe we're facing 2 lefties right out of the gate. Mike, I'll go to you first, man. What's your take on the Phils Marlins series kicking off Tuesday night at one of the biggest bars in the entire city, Citizens Bank Park? That place is going to be electric.
It's going to be I hate playing the Marlins, and the fact that they have back-to-back lefties. Luzardo has pitched well against you. I don't like this matchup. I was totally mindset ready for Arizona, who didn't have Gallen in game 1. They weren't going to be able to pitch their top 2 guys in the first game. So I don't like this matchup. Look, you're flat out better than the Marlins are, talent-wise, roster-wise, but they won the season series 7-6. They've been a pain in your ass for essentially it feels like the last 10 years. They have just been a gnat. They've been a pain, and that's been during the regular season. Can you imagine if this gnat and pain in your ass gets you in the playoffs? I hate the matchup. 2 lefties. My biggest question will be, there's a lot of questions, but Brandon Marsh, are they not going to play him with lefty pitchers? Are you going to see Christian Pache playing left field? Are they going to see those guys?
I think they're going to go Pache, Mike, with the lefty, and Pache's I think only been batting 3 for 33 in the month of September, but
Marsh is one of those heart and soul guys, man. He's one of those guys that everybody feeds off of. but he struggled against lefties. And I don't know, man. I hate this series. Quick, Samboner Mick, Colin Thompson, you guys can fire. Name a Marlin.
The pitcher, Luzardo.
I just gave you that answer.
No, who's their stud? I think he's iffy.
He has not had a good year this year.
But guys, I think the whole story is this: it's Red October, baby. Like there is no better
in that place.
There's no better place to play in October than Philadelphia. Period. It takes a certain toughness level because of you don't know what the weather is going to be. Now it's going to be nice this week, but
very nice.
It's chaos there. It's two different seasons. Phillies fans, when they were selling out all the time, it was still passion in the regular season. But when you get to the playoffs in Philly, it's infectious. We were in Carolina last year when the Phillies were in the playoffs, and obviously a lot of Coach Rule guys, a lot of Philly guys are on the staff. Everyone's going crazy in Carolina. I'm ready to fly up on the bye week. I mean, on the off day, 24-hour trip just to get to Philly to get there, to be a part of it. Like the chaos, that's what the difference is. Like, I believe in all this stuff. I'm not a nerd with baseball. That Mike's dialed in all that stuff. Mick, you got more knowledge on it. But I think the difference is the fans, the people.
Yeah, no, that's the ultimate 12th man, honestly.
And that's the Phillies. They embrace it. That's why Bryce Harper's was better than Manny Machado, right? Machado's a great player, unreal talent. But like, Bryce is the perfect guy for that because Bryce is going nuts.
Oh, God.
He's perfect for it.
Don't get me started there. I did read an interesting stat, and I want to touch on Harper actually as well. But the Marlins have a league leading, I think they're 33-13 when it's a one-run game. But that said, like, I don't see this becoming a type of one-run type of game one after the next. And with the talent that they have, and like Bryce Harper again, Kyle, like, Mike, do you think he's going to go down as one of the greatest Philly athletes of all time?
Most beloved Philadelphia, not Phillies, Philadelphia sports athlete.
Jason Kelsey and him. I said it before.
Yeah, we talked about
the old days. They're another level. Harper, the connectability is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that Harper. At first, you're like, does Bryce Harper really want to play in Philly? And then not only did he want to play in Philly, he wanted to own the town. And he's done that. One thing you just mentioned, though, Mick, close games, all that kind of stuff. The Marlins are pain in your ass. If that happens, what's the Phillies bullpen going to look like? That, to me, is a big one. Are they going to stick with Kimbrel, Alvarado? You've got this Kirkering kid who came out of nowhere. I would use that kid. To me, that kid's got the best stuff in that bullpen. To me, he's got to pitch in some high-leverage situations. You've got Hoffman, who's pitched great this year, but they haven't used him in high-level spots. Their bullpen, Soto's looked great the last week of the season. Dominguez has been a mess. They got a lot of choices and decisions to make in close games.
In Philly, Rob, we trust, man. You know what? Those situations come up, and the skipper is the one that's going to make those calls. And, he's got that Charlie Manuel type of perspective on the game. So I think it's an in-game situation. I think it's next man up, depending on the current situation, how many runners are on, et cetera, who's up to bat. But no, you're right, man. They all have to step up, and they all have to, bring it, because that could essentially bite us in the ass if it is a one-run game.
I think, too, it's and great points by Mick and Mike, as always. But the one thing here that we really have to consider when you give that stat about Miami, they play in front of no fans in an air conditioning indoor facility. That's going to be different, a lot different. And this is a Phillies team that's, again, they're built for this situation. It wasn't about being good early in the year. It was about being hot down the stretch, clinching and riding off, just like it did last year. Now, of course, yes, the baseball stats, and I know it's a stat game, but this isn't like an indoor football team here where you're playing the Colts of old, and Peyton Manning's got to go outside now in New England, and he's throwing the ball over the yard in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil, and they're indoor, and it's Marvin Harrison. No, you're in New England now. You're in Philly. Now, it's going to be a beautiful week. I get all that, but this is not a little bubble AC thing down in Miami anymore. This is South Philadelphia, the best bar in the city. It's going to be rocking. Red October.
I'm surprised they do that. I mean, it's great that we have all three games in the event that we
have to. Put it this way, Mick. The player side, the league, the player side did not want to do a 3-game series. Why? The Braves and the Dodgers and the Orioles and the Astros, they got to sit around waiting now for 5 days. This is a routine sport. the teams that get these buys, it sounds like it's an advantage for them, but this is not what. Look at what the Braves are doing. They're opening their ballpark to fans to try to mimic a game this week. They're trying to play inter-squad games with fans in there because they want to mimic the baseball players do not. I know all sports athletes.
Is there stats behind that, Mike? Are there stats behind like a wild card team winning it all versus not?
They just started this whole thing with the 3-game series last year, and the two teams, the Braves got beat by the Phillies,
right,
and the Dodgers got beat by the Padres. So, yes, these teams, the Players Association did not want these 3-game sets. This was for television, and they wanted a 1-gamer so that these teams that got the buys could pick right back up and play. So if they had to travel, you would have to take another travel day, because if you were playing Philly and Arizona, you got to give them a day off to go out there. So that's why you get all 3 games to make it 3 days in a row. But the Players Association did not want these 3-game sets. This was made for television.
And it's great points. And I'm going to give a football perspective here now, completely different sports. But prime example, when we have, and during training camp, and they move you into you see it, the Eagles do it. They have a fan day, right? They open up the link. You practice in the link. We did it in Carolina. They open up Bank of America. We did it with Minnesota. And the mistakes go up when you go in front of people, like, because they're trying to mimic that awkwardness, right? It's like the debate of preseason football or no preseason football. So I'm just going to give a football parallel. That's all. Of yes, you have that adrenaline rolling of the season. You don't want things to be brand new a week later, and then you're adjusting, but you adjust halfway through the game, and the team who just won the wild card series has been playing great and they're hot. So just the football perspective of when you're in front of fans and you're not used to being for a little bit of a period of time, the mistakes rise.
The Braves are telling you how important it is. They are opening their building for free to fans. Come in and make noise, because we want to do our best to try to mimic what we're about to go to if we have to play Philadelphia. Look, what did Spencer Strider, did you guys see that comment he made the other day where he doesn't think fans should be in the lower bowl? He doesn't want to pitch in front of fans, put them upstairs. He went through Philadelphia last year. Those Braves pitcher looked like they saw a ghost pitching in Philly last year.
No, it should be exciting, man. There's no better time. There's no better feeling than just being surrounded by 45,000 fans. Let's go. All right, moving right over. I know we're short on time today. Let's move right over.
Gil got something. What do you got, Gil?
What's the most money you're spending for a playoff ticket?
Well, last year was a little outrageous. So I have season tickets in section 130 and section 118. I split 20 between my dad and I split another 20 between my cousin Jason and my brother. Last year, I think we spent $2,500 on regular season and $3,500 on postseason. That can't happen this year, unfortunately, but I am going down Tuesday night. We're going to play it day by day. Again, I do get to pay face value for the ticket, and you know, they're going for like, I think 400 or 500, or maybe like 4 or 5 times the face value right now, just in the wild card round. So
ooh, doggy.
I don't know. You know, it's funny. I look back on 2019, Mike, and I sat there and I'm sorry, not 2019, 2009. My dad and I went, and we had the luxury of sitting third row behind the visitors dugout. That's one of our pairs. And the Phillies are playing in the World Series against the Yankees. And we sit down, and my dad looked over at me and said, so just out of curiosity, like, how much could we have gotten for these tickets? And I said, it doesn't matter, Dad. We're watching Alex Rodriguez. We're watching Derek Jeter. We're watching the World Series, Phillies, Yankees. And he's like, how much? I said, probably $10,000 for the pair. He almost fell out of his seat. And I just said, I'm sorry, but
you can't take it with you, man. You can't take it with you.
Exactly. Now, that said, like, we continue to do this, and we continue to be fortunate. Every once in a while, maybe throw one in there to pay for the other 3 games that you went to.
Yeah.
That's always a possibility.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
But they're up, man. It's like, you know, like the housing market. Like sports stock is way up.
I was going to say, I think that number is like, what, 250? That's like my comfort level.
Yeah, no, like my tickets Tuesday night, 118, row 8.
But you're down low. I would say I would go up top.
Yeah, they're going for like 500 or 600 a ticket.
Section 417, there's a nice bar up there.
Yeah.
You would find a nice bar, Gil.
I didn't know. My buddy told me, but I'm just
all right. Let's wrap it up. I'll go to you, Colin. What's your take on the Birds week 4, moving to 4-0? As I like to say, I always feel like the first 4 weeks are kind of like a preseason in the NFL. I know you don't agree there, but what are your thoughts?
I don't firmly disagree. I don't know if you saw my text. I got time till 10:45, but listen, I watched the tape again this morning, prepping for our show, prepping for Mike's show tomorrow. I watched the most of the game yesterday. I'll say this. I have a little bit of takeaways. I think what people wouldn't see unless this is your profession, there's a couple just little mistakes here and there that just hold the Eagles back each week that they will get cleaned up because they're just simple little mental errors, simple little mistakes that coaches can coach during the week. For example, DeAndre Swift on the one screen early on, it looks like the O-line missed the block. No, it's called a sidewalk screen, meaning the numbers of the sidewalk. If you get off the sidewalk, you're going to get hit by a car. He got hit by a car. So you got to stay up the sidewalk. He bounces out to the numbers. The guy makes a tackle. That should have been a 25-yard gain. That's a minor thing. People jumping off sides, right? Because of how good their D-line is, right? That's a fixable thing. Also, something to keep track of. The Eagles are going silent cadence a lot, which is very weird at home. And that's a disadvantage for the Eagles because they don't know when the snap count is. That's something they got to figure out. I don't know what that dynamic is. I hope someone in media asked that question. That'd be the first question I'm asking is why are we going silent at home? But I also see this. I see the Eagles OC and DC settling into their identity of what they want to do. So I see a ton of positives from a football nerd perspective because that's a good Washington team. And everyone says, that's the Washington Commanders. We should be blowing them out. Well, you want to go through offensive weapons? They got 2 running backs. They got 3 wideouts. They got a big tight end. They got a great backup in Bates. Logan Thomas is a starter. You saw him down the middle, what he can do. They got a quarterback now that's got some Baker Mayfield, a little bit better athlete type magic in him, who's tough and gritty. And their defensive line.
I didn't see that many points. Holy crap.
Right? That defensive line, they're no joke now. Sweat is one of the best in the league, and he's not even the premier guy. So I like that Washington team. There's a reason why they're 2-1. There's a reason why at the end of the year, last couple of years, they always finish around 500, and they've got like Taylor Heineke and these 4 quarterbacks running around. So I say all that to say another win. Eagles are trending in the right direction. There's a little detail that they're going to continue to work. This is football. You're going to make mistakes. And I think you're going to find the rhythm here because the OC and DC are settling in.
Yeah, I like that. What do you got, Mike?
I like, by the way, Washington. And I think one of the problems with Washington is they lack consistency. They've got a lot of top-end talent, but they just don't play consistent enough football. You lose 37-3 one week, and then the next week. I thought the big difference in the game, how the first against Buffalo looked lost. Last week, he looked confident and comfortable, and that's Bieniemy giving him plays to make him feel more comfortable and confident. I thought their offensive line played really well. Their weak spot in the line is the interior. The Eagles' strong suit of their defense is the interior, and I thought Washington did a good job for most of the day handling Carter, Davis, Fletcher. I mean, they had some push and got some pressure, but it didn't move him off his spot enough. It didn't get him uncomfortable, and he found guys open all day. Look, the Eagles secondary a little depleted. They went after a couple guys. I thought Joe played pretty well considering he didn't give up the big play. He didn't get a penalty, those kind of things. They kept going after him, but the Eagles got to figure out what they want to do in their secondary with Bradbury. You're going to keep him playing in the slot? Are you going to move him back to the outside? I think Howie Roseman's probably got to be looking at something there.
Absolutely, Mike. Yeah, defensive line, I mean, overall, right, not just this week, is an A defensive line. The offensive line is an A offensive line. Our backfield is A. Our quarterback is A. Our receivers is A. But the secondary is your big question mark. But on a positive note, my take is
you don't agree.
What?
Colin
I agree.
No, Colin doesn't look like he agrees.
Well, before Colin comes in with the negative approach on the Eagle, no, I'm just kidding. Now, my positive takeaway was just, Jalen Hurts, right? He rose to the occasion. He came up big, didn't have any turnovers, threw for 300 plus, got A.J. Brown completely involved to the point where those two more or less took over the game. Unfortunately, they almost let it slip away due to A.J. Brown's nonsense in the end zone. But that, for me, after 3 struggling weeks looking at Jalen Hurts and then him to come up big in week 4 to grab that 4th win and, head out to L.A. for week 5 is, that's all I care about, honestly.
Great points. I'll say this on the secondary. This is where the coaching aspect comes into it. I think it's more a reflection of what Washington took advantage of, right? It's not black and white in football, and I think a lot of fans see it that way. When the Washington Commanders are running the ball down your throat, you got to fill the box up. You got to bring people down in to stop the run. Whether the D-line's good or not, or the linebackers or whatever, Washington's a good running football team. They got 2 backs. They do some RPO stuff. You see what they're doing with the quarterback on the goal line there with Curtis Samuel's an unbelievable piece. I play with him in Carolina. He's a stud. Play running back, quarterback.
Yeah.
But my point to all that is this. Something has to happen. You can't pay Peter, pay Paul. Like, if they're going to run the ball, they're going to be one-on-one on the outside. The corner's going to have to make unreal plays. There's always going to be a disadvantage. So I just think it's not always like, well, the corners aren't. It's just when they're running the ball at you, you got to try to stop the run. When you're trying to stop the run, you're going to be susceptible on the back end. So I think that you see more of that. If the Eagles can stop the run with the 6-man box, which they have been doing, then they can drop more into coverage. Yeah. And then you see Darius Slay picking the ball.
Well, I will add, Colin, and I know you could probably attest to this, what the players feel about it, but I thought some real ticky-tack stuff on the refs yesterday.
Yeah, it was a tough play.
I thought Slay that was a terrible call.
Oh, dude, that was absolutely. Give me a break.
Yeah, but my point is, he's getting called for that penalty. Bradbury getting called for that penalty, extended a couple drives, whole 5 yards, but you get the automatic first down. That was those 2 penalties kept drives going, stuff like that. So
I'll tell you what, though, this is a game of inches, man. Like some of those reviews, like you had to go to the booth to review them. I'm like, I don't know. Like
Play the game is read Blankenship's arm.
I thought it was it.
And stepped on his arm. If he doesn't step on his arm and roll out of bounds, he probably falls in bounds. I mean, his arm was the difference in that being a catch or no catch.
Yeah. And then, last but not least, without further ado, big props to Jake Elliott. Like, is he quickly becoming the best kicker in Philadelphia Eagles history, like over David Akers?
He's been for a while.
I don't know about that.
I think he's made some big kicks. He's kicked in big games. He's been ultra consistent.
Mike, you're gonna probably talk about that a lot this afternoon. That's gonna come up a lot.
I agree. Elliott, to me, started this whole run for the Eagles. He kicked that 60-plus yarder against the Giants, and he took him to the Super Bowl. That the next year he kind of fell off a little bit. But then he bounced back after that and has just been as solid and consistent and automatic as you can get. And look, and Colin, you could probably talk more about this because I guess the common fan doesn't think it's that big of a deal. They changed his holder on him, right?
Huge.
Last week they changed his holder, and I would imagine the other day I got punts that go further than Mann's right now. I could go 35 yards, Brandon Mann. Come on. But I would imagine they might be looking for a new holder for him.
Kickers are very particular who's snapping and holding for them. And it's not as easy as spin the ball on the laces. The snapper's got to deliver the ball with the laces out. That's another thing, too, from a fan's perspective that you may not understand is, oh, look at the holder. He spun the ball there. He shouldn't have to spin the ball because the snappers know their rotation so well that they turn their hands to adjust it so that the holder gets it and puts it down right away. That's how intricate it is. It's not high school where you just put it back on the spot and the holder's got to move it. There's the first thing. Second thing with holders, my buddy Ryan Winslow, punter, LaSalle High School, Pitt. All over the league. Ryan was in the league for a couple of years. A very good punter, but what made Ryan great and why kickers loved Ryan is because he was an elite holder. So I don't know about the Eagles holder as the punter, but he may be an elite holder. They'll keep an okay punter that's a great holder for Jake over a great punter who's just a moderate holder. Because those 3 points, as you guys know, are massive. And that's why I said, I shouldn't say, and I rebutted Mick, say he's been for a while. He's not been for a while, of course. He's on track too, and he's been on track for a while to beat David. Is a throwback. I'll never forget this. Rest of my life. 2014, Temple football is playing Memphis. We were 6-6 that year. We were playing Thursday night at the Link, 8:30 at night, prime time Thursday night game, typical American conference. Got to play on Thursday night to play on prime time. We are beating the hell out of Memphis. Jake, this little kicker rock, Jake Elliott trots out, standing on the middle of the Eagles logo at the Link because we didn't paint the Temple T sometimes. We weren't always that good. He's on the middle of the Eagles logo to win the game on Thursday Night Football. I think it was 10-10, and he banged it from 60 at the Link in a cold, I think it was like an October day. I'm like, man, this guy would be a perfect kicker for the Eagles. Holy cow, this guy's a stud. I'll never forget that. 2014. And shit you not, the Eagles took him or 2 years later, I believe it was, and
I think they traded for him.
I forget what it was, but I remember.
I think Elliott was with the Bengals. I'm pretty sure, and that the Eagles, he was with the Bengals in 2017, and the Eagles traded for him.
Yeah, I just never forget it. He made that kick at the link, and I was like, "Holy cow, man!"
They signed him off the Bengals practice squad.
Yep, I think maybe Caleb Sturgis, an old buddy of mine, was there before. I played with him.
He's also a scratch golfer.
Yeah, he's the best golfer on the Birds. Yeah.
The USA team could have used him over the weekend.
Sturgis went on the injured list. They signed Elliott off the practice squad from the Bengals.
Yeah, Caleb was great. Was a great. I mean, I played with him in Florida. The guy was money.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, real quick thing on kickers, and you might attest to this, Colin. I went to West Virginia. There was a kicker. There was a backup kicker. He was like the third string kicker. That guy
got lot of weird dudes.
Right? That guy was always picking up the ladies because he just said, "Yeah, I'm on the football team." Always. The kicker always was picking up.
Well, I don't think
great job, but man alive, way too much pressure. Holy shit, man.
You want to be a punter.
Yeah.
Great job. You want to be a punter.
Quarterback.
People say long snapper. Hell no.
Oh my God, no. That's pressure.
A lot of pressure. And you got your head down between your legs on punt. And now they're putting the defensive lineman who are first round pick in the A gap, and they're saying, "Hey, go block him." I can't even block him at 6'5", 255, and you're asking John Dornbos to block him.
Well, he's a magician.
You can't cover the punter, the snapper now, right?
No, but the problem is they're in the A gap next to you. It's even worse. I'd rather him line up head over me and run me over, because if he runs me over, he's not blocking the kick. But if he shoots in the A gap and my head's between my legs, so not to get Bill Belichick nerdy here, and I'll be brief. Those three guys are the most important three cats on your team to win a Super Bowl: snapper, punter, kicker, period. They need to be legit. They need to have stones the size of beach balls, and they got to be organized and on point, because that's what makes you 4-0. We saw it the other day. They lined up. He knocked that through from 60, whatever, and they were crisp, and they got a great interior field goal protection, or great interior field goal rush in Washington because of the length and the size they have. So listen, Birds fans, I know I'm Mr. Optimistic, but there's a reason. Because every Monday I get up and I watch the game again. And I say, boy, oh boy, this team, when they continue to tighten the screws, because I think they have a really good coaching staff and a lot of really mature, organized players that drive that ship there. This is a different team in the past. This team is, now again, they went to Super Bowl last year, I get all that. But they are a team that's got a ton of potential, and they're 4-0. And that's why I always say I'm really optimistic about the team.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. That is your weekend shakedown. Follow Mr. Mike Gill, the voice of South Jersey, ESPN Radio 97.3 at the Mike Gill Show. Follow at Colin Thompson. He'll be joining Mike Gill tomorrow afternoon. What time you guys go on there? Like 2:30, 3 o'clock?
2:30 here live.
Nice.
Live.
And then tomorrow, I mean, this is practically Christmas Eve for me. Tomorrow, game 1, Phillies Marlins, 8:08. We'll be down there.
What goes on tomorrow morning, Mick?
What game? No, I don't know, man. Just play
Tom McCarthy coming to you live.
Oh yeah, that's right. McCarthy coming on. We'll get his take on the Phils.
Yep.
We'll talk a little cheesesteak action with Mr. McCarthy, because it's cheesesteak month, Samboners. We're turning the page. Lots going on here at the Samboner Show. Appreciate everybody tuning in. This has been nothing but a ton of fun. Appreciate our sponsors. Original Fudge Kitchen, Verona Pizza, Hank Sauce, doing it right. Go Birds, go Phils. Keep on Samboning, everybody.
Pop that Sambone, and baby, it's on. Driving 45 minutes just to grab a bite. Know that it's worth it when the neon's in sight. My mouth starts to water, my knees get weak. I post it up on Insta so that everyone can see it. I put in my order, set up my phone, clear me a table, I'm